All right, all right, all right, all right. Here we are, here we are, here we are. Welcome back to another Johnny T video. Today we're doing a Jetta TDI flywheel. So what we're gonna start with is the engine cover there. Then we're gonna unplug the little vacuum line there, the mass airflow connector. Then we're gonna take the air box out. This kid works so slow. Still taking the air box out. There we go. Brute force. Then we get that little dingleberry right there. Tuck the lines, and then we're going to go inside the car because we're going to have to drop the subframe here. So we're going to take these little plastic nuts or screws or whatever, take those off. There's one on each side of that little protector. And then once that baby comes off, you're actually going to take the little screw out of the bottom of the steering shaft that connects it to the power steering rack. Right there. There you go. Next, we take the battery out. Loosen the battery bracket. Get that out of the way. Now struggle with the battery a little bit. Shaky, 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 shake, shake. Take the battery tray out. And now we can see everything that we really need to. So this is electronic power steering, so we're just taking the power wire off the fuse box there. There's going to be a power wire, then there's going to be a chassis ground. So you got to get that bad boy out of there. Undo those two clamps. First, relieve the pressure in the coolant system by taking the bottle reservoir, cap off. Next thing's next, taking the starter out. So as you can see in here, top right, you have a bolt. Then probably if it's right there, the other one's over there or over there, whichever way you're looking at it. The other bolt is under the starter, so you have to take the connector off for the right behind the starter there, right down there. That's the connector for the DSG unit. That's the transmission controller. So then, yeah, you're just gonna take that little plug that goes to the starter. You're gonna peel back that little protective boot there. There's gonna be a 13 nut under there, and that's the power from the battery to the starter. Yes, I like to point. Point, 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 point. Alright, so if you're not able to get the starter, the bottom starter bolt from the top. This is how you get it. Take the splash shield down. Take this down, the lower fender liner, and you have direct access. Right when you take that off, you have direct access to that bolt. Now I'm not too sure what I recorded next. Oh, I got the bolt out. Look at that starter. Alright. Next, you gotta take the selector lever. There's a clip right there and a clip right there. You pop those out, push that selector lever back, and then there's 3 tranny bolts. 2 right there, and then 1. Come on. There you go. There you go. There's one right there. So you get those 3 out, and then you can move to the bottom. We're pretty much all done up top, except for the transmission mount. There's 2 bolts right, 2 nuts right there for the some harness holders. Then the rest of the bolts. Looks like I'm just pointing at a bunch of bolts, but that's all to take the subframe down. And they do have little placeholders that you put where the subframe bolts go, so you don't have to mess around with the actual subframe itself when you put it back up, so you don't have to do any type of alignments or anything like that. So here we go. We're going to get the well, first we're going to take this bracket off the transmission. Do 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 boop boo doo bee doo bee doo boo doo. You can do it. Yep. When am I going to be done with this bracket? Probably could have fast forwarded this part, but oh, fast forward, yeah. Alright, so what we do is we take the nuts out of the ball joint. The ball joints on both sides. We take the nut off the outer tie rods. We take the all the subframe bolts off. There's 2 that go to the transmission, and then there's 4 that go into the body. 2 that hold the exhaust hanger up, that go to the subframe in the back. Take the bottom nut off of the sway bar links. I don't think I'm missing anything else. A lot of bolts. And down comes the subframe. And then next things next, we're going to take the axles out. They are bolt-in axles. Then once the axles are out, let me just pause this right here. Once the axles are out, gotta get an engine hoist Gotta hook it up to the motor, which I did previously to this. There's 3 bolts that hold the transmission mount in, and then there is actually that transmission mount bracket thing that it's bolted to. That needs to also come out. There's 4/16s. And then you lower that sucker. And there's 4 bottom bolts, then 1 up there, number 5. Usually I'll leave the one in the back for last. So I'll take all these out. Take all those out. And this is the I call it a little bit sketchy, but you know, it works. So, but we're gonna fast forward through this part because yeah, there we go. And once you get that bolt out, you kind of just give the transmission a wiggle, 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 pop, pop, and it pops out. And this is the flywheel. So this is a very common thing on these TDI vehicles, is the because it's a dual mass flywheel. It's got the springs on the inside, and they do wear after a while. Most of the time, people can't hear it when the car's in drive. It's because it's putting pressure on that pressure plate, but it's when the vehicle is idling. Usually in neutral or park. Then you'll really be able to hear it. It sounds like somebody threw some marbles in your transmission there. Now you just wiggle this flywheel. This one actually gave me a really, really hard time, but we're going to fast forward through that. Smack, 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 smack. So this is, yeah, that one is very worn out. Very, very worn out, if you could see that. Here we're taking the pilot bushing out of the crank. Nice little puller there that I made. Dropping stuff per usual. Then grease that bushing up. And use that. Use a little driver. And there are specifications to all these. That driver will not allow the pilot bushing to go in farther than it needs to. And then once that's in, you can put the new flywheel on, which it only goes on one way. All of the 6 bolt holes will only go in one way. And there's a torque spec for these as well. I usually just zap them in, just so I don't have to use a ratchet to screw them in. And then just zap them in, and then give them nice torque with the torque wrench. Beep, 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 beep. Now it's time to put the transmission back up, which is a little sketchy with the jack that we have, so that's why I didn't show it. But there's 2 pins that you have to line up. So what we're seeing here right now is the transmission's back in. I got the engine hoist on there. I'm pulling it up so I can bolt that baby in. There we go. All bolted in, ready to go. Now I just finished the top 3 bolts in there. And the power steering rack I mentioned is electric. So what you have to do is you just reroute the harness up through the body and into its home. Working at the speed of light now. Just whoo. Putting that bracket back in, putting the axles in. Now it's time for the subframe. See that wiring harness? Just gotta be careful not to pinch it. Putting all the bolts back on, the sway bar links, all that good jazz. I don't honestly remember how long this actually took me. Oh, nice. I honestly don't remember. There's about an hour and a half worth of footage, so a little bit longer than that, I guess. Put the water cooler hoses on there for the transmission cooler. Put the battery tray back in, and under the battery tray, that's where the wires go. Wires are routed for the power steering rack. Put the battery in. Battery hold down bracket. Put that baby on there. And then we're pretty much done after all this is reinstalled here. I don't show it, but I do put the negative cable back on, because I started up and let it idle for a little while I'm buttoning up the bottom. Put that shield back on. As you can see, the lights are on, so the vehicle is running at this point. It sounds brand new, just like it did off the assembly line. I believe this car had 125,000, 126,000 miles. I don't remember off the top of my head, but usually that's around the time that we see the flywheel start making noise. So just button up this bottom here, putting the splash guards back in, and then we're going to throw the tire on, and I think we're good to go after that. This is the fun stuff. I really like doing this kind of stuff here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys love working on cars like I do. Yeah, until next time. New videos every week. Like, subscribe, comment, love it, list it, twist it, poke it. Done. Love you guys. Alright. See you later.